You're listening to the Championship Wrestling Podcast. And here's your host, Dustin Starr.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Championship Wrestling Podcast. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy Monday. And tonight is the big night. Wrestling trivia returns to Sidecar Cafe. I can't wait for that. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a moment. I am Dustin Starr, and along with wrestling trivia, I also have a special guest today to help recap Saturday's Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle. The show was loaded, and here to recap with me is Five Starr Photographer Dreadhead Kev. Lots of fun stories to talk about here today with him, but first, be sure to follow at CW30 Wrestling on all social media channels. Plus, you can keep up with me at Dustin Starr. Championship Wrestling is presented by Pro Shingle, home of the Speedy Shingle Service.
Let's run it back with the Championship Wrestling Rewind.
Sounds like a good idea to me. Check out these highlights and maybe a few lowlights for some of our competitors. And then I'm going to discuss it with today's guest and Championship Wrestling's official photographer, Dreadhead Kev. On your mark, get set, let's go! Last week on Championship Wrestling, we had another loaded card headlined by United TV champion Levi Shapiro and Howdy Price defending against EJ Sparks.
That is pure evidence. We saw him load the glove, James. We saw it.
Yeah, we saw it clear as day. EJ doesn't see it. Neither did the referee. EJ's got to be very careful here. Going for another big-time kick. Look, Levi, with the loaded glove. The lights just turned out. He is crumbled.
Lights are out indeed. Went totally limp. Come on.
Plus, the future of the Women's Division Championship is in jeopardy.
We're friends. It's water under the bridge. But Heather, it really hurt coming from you. You want to know how much it hurt? Oh my God! The equal opportunity assassin Ruby Ray's. I know exactly how to fix this. We're gonna have a tag team match. It's gonna be Ruby Ray's and Cece Chanel against Heather Monroe and Halston Body. If you do not win this match, there is no women's title. Nothing!
All that and so much more on the fastest hour in pro wrestling. Watch episode 88 in full on our official YouTube channel at CW30 Wrestling. What's up, Dread?
What's up, brother?
Man,
how are you?
I'm doing good, man. I miss seeing you in the studios, that's for sure.
Yeah, man, I miss being in the studio, dude. It's so weird, man. So weird.
Well, we had an awesome episode on Saturday, but before we talk about that, we heard the highlights and saw the recap and all that stuff. So before we talk about it, let's talk about that. So how did you get to be Five Starr Photographer?
Oh, man, it's a good question.
It is a good
man,
question.
It's a really good question. I don't know, man. Like, how would you say? Like, I think I reached out to you. I was like, hey, man, I wanna just be your guy type of thing. It was kind of something similar to that, right?
Well, I remember the first time we met. Do you?
I do. It was Fastlane. That was the first time we met.
Yep, live at FedEx Forum.
FedEx Forum, yeah. I didn't even know Maria at the time. I didn't know Maria until probably maybe 3 months later. So it was a slow grad with that. But
yeah, and you were kind of an aspiring photographer and you sent me some of your work. And so one of my biggest advices to anybody was look at your product and compare it to a WWE product and just look at the differences and see how you can not really match, but how close you can come to that quality. Do you remember that conversation?
I remember that. I totally remember that.
And then
I remember that very well.
Slowly but surely, now you're Five Starr Photographer.
Yeah, and I'm up and down the road with you.
Now,
we
also
have a lot of stories too.
Oh my gosh, we're not going to tell some of those.
We definitely can't.
But since day one in studio on our premiere on April 4th, 2019,
It seems longer than that.
I know it seems longer than that, but ever since day one, you're in the studio with us each and every time. Now with COVID hitting and us not being in the studio, that's changed things a little bit, but it'll come back. It'll come back. But you were in the studio just about every single time that we recorded. So all the pictures that you see that are of me or my Maria in studio, they come from Dreadhead Kev. So there's a long relationship going on right there and a long partnership, brother. And I really appreciate that.
Oh, bro, I'm a ride and die with you guys. Ride and die.
But I want you to be totally impartial when we talk about the show today, because we had a good one. I thought it was, action-packed and loaded. And it kicked right off with a guy that I know you love, Ray Rosas.
Oh, man, about that last week, man, him losing the title. Clearwater seems like it's kind of tainted his victory for that, don't you think? Like,
yeah.
No, not being, too partial, Dustin. I know you got your difference with him, but you have to admit, like, that was kind of a, harsh victory for Clearwater.
It was, and I'll be curious to see the rematch because Ray Rosas, like him or not, and we know the history that I have with him and Maria has with him, but like him or not, he's a great talent. Jordan Clearwater picked up the victory last week, but this week Ray Rosas was hot about it, and it kicked off the show, so that's not over with. He's waging war on SoCal distancing.
Oh, man. This thing has gotten out of hand big time with that. It really has.
I think we're going to see a culmination very soon. But then speaking of culmination, what about the women's division? Cece Chanel, she comes out for her match. She's interrupted by Heather Monroe and Halston Body and Jamie Iovine and Ruby Reyes. So now we have an intergender tag team match coming up on episode 500 of Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. And we're going to have that in full on CW30 Wrestling. But the cool thing about this is the women's championship actually being sanctioned hangs in the balance. And the unique part of this is Cece Chanel and Ruby Reyes are both really, really talented women's wrestlers, and they're tag teaming against Heather Monroe, who is arguably the top female performer in the league. But then her tag team partner is not even a wrestler. It's Halston Body.
No, he's not.
What the heck?
It's going to be interesting. Can he at least get somewhere with that by the training with her? Like, that's the question. Like, do they have enough time?
He better.
How do you prepare for something like that?
He better.
He better. That's the only thing. He better.
That was the big story this week was the women's title will hang in the balance. Not literally the champion, like the winner doesn't win the title, but if Heather and Halston can win, that means the women's championship will be sanctioned by the United Wrestling Network. So we'll have a women's title on Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle. But if Ruby Reyes and Cece Chanel win, which is weird because Cece Chanel wants there to be a women's championship, but she's trapped in this ridiculous contract with Nico Marquez. But if they win, no women's championship.
You'd think she would have something up her sleeve. You would think.
We'll see.
That's
there was some good matches on this week, too. We had a rematch between Jesse James, the big Western roughneck. He had the size and strength advantage on Jack Cartwright. And, man, Cartwright fought. He fought like hell, but Jesse James just beat him up.
Oh, man. It was so close with him. He's come so close every time he's gotten in the ring. So close.
Speaking of so close, another guy that's come so close a bunch of times, he wrestled your boy Will Allday last week with Snipes. This week, he picks up his first victory, and some call it an upset victory, over the king of the concrete jungle, Slice Boogie. I like both of these guys, and I was really happy to see Snipes come out on top.
Oh, yeah. Like, dude, he went right for the ankle, man. And then he of course, that was the perfect timing. I mean, I don't think it was an upset. I think he just capitalized on an injury.
He definitely did. But then afterwards, the bodega. So Danny Limelight and Papo Esco, don't mess with Papo, man. He'll slap you around. But those guys seem to be recruiting and offering some protection to Slice Boogie. So there's a trio in the making. And then also the neon phenomenon, Anthony Idol. He went up against Cam, who Cam Cole is now going by just one name, Cam, which we met out here at the Spooktacular on Halloween night in Memphis. And I will say,
great showing.
Yeah, Cam is pretty good at karaoke. I will say that.
Man, he's just he's just really good in the ring. Cam is really good in the ring. We saw him at the Halloween Spectacular, and oh my gosh, him and Will Alday, it had to be the hands down best match, I think.
I think you might be right. It was a really good match.
I think it was very good. Like, now I don't know about the whole like come to the ring like he does, but it may be a little bit of a yeah. I don't know about all that.
I think the big
you
mistake
think
there was
that would slow him down, right?
Blowing the smoke in Anthony Idol's face is probably not a good way to start the match.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Anthony Idol picks up the victory in that, and then we had our big United TV title main event. Levi Shapiro, the champ, with Howdy Price. Howdy!
Howdy!
Defended against EJ Sparks. EJ Sparks is a former 3-time Arizona State champion, and I think we should have a new United TV champion, but that's not how it went down.
Man, I think if Howdy wasn't out there, we would definitely have a new champion. I really believe that.
Levi would have tapped out, right?
Absolutely. Howdy was right there where the ropes were, and he gave that extra nudge to help him get out. So I think we would have had a new champion if Howdy wasn't there.
The loaded glove made all the difference too. Howdy Price being involved with that. Next week is absolutely loaded too, but what was the best part of this week? Was there a worse part of this week? What's the most intriguing thing? Give me your thoughts on episode 88.
Man, I really don't think it was a solid show. I'd have to say Anthony Idol. Man, he always comes out there and puts on a show. Like, that big guy can move. I've never seen a big guy like him move for his size. It is impressive.
And then also him taking up for Jack Cartwright and coming out and running off Jesse James. So
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, there could be a showdown of big men, Jesse James and Anthony Idol. But then Idol's going to have to watch out because, Howdy Price is recruiting Jesse James, which I think that's a perfect fit. The cowboy going with Howdy Price. I mean, come on now.
Oh, absolutely. That just makes a perfect fit. But the question is does Jesse James go alone? The whole cowboy is standing alone type of thing. Does he feel that way? That's the question.
Only time will tell. Well, all right, Dreadhead. Well, I appreciate you for joining me here on the Championship Wrestling Podcast. Of course, I'm a big fan of your work. Tell everybody where they can find your work and exactly what you do, because you shoot more than wrestling.
Oh yeah, I do concerts, man. It's been a year now since I haven't done anything because of the COVID thing. So, but yeah, I used to do concerts. Did a lot of stuff at Graceland, stuff like that. But you can find me at Dreadhead Kev 22 on Twitter and Instagram, and I have a Facebook, but I've been kind of slow at putting stuff on there, but I'm working on it.
And you're being a little bit modest. Tell us a couple of the bands that you've shot, because I think that's very important.
Oh my gosh. There's a list. There's a huge list. I've shot for Nia Strauss. She is the guitarist for Alice Cooper. Mm-hmm. I've shot for my favorite band, Seether. That was last year.
There you go.
Skillet. Skillet's another one. Oh my gosh, there's a lot. Saliva. There's another band. The list goes on.
I mean to put you on the spot, but it's one thing to say that I shoot concerts. It's another thing to say that I shot concerts with Saliva and Skillet and Seether, which is your favorite band. I know that was a bucket list for you, but you've shot a lot of really good stuff, and we appreciate all the work that you've done for Championship Wrestling as well.
Well, I have to say my favorite wrestling show, and Dustin, you may remember this, is the Bill Street Brawl that we did with Dana White.
Dana White looking for a fight.
Yeah, that was my favorite one. It hasn't been topped yet.
A quick story that a lot of people probably don't know is when we were putting that match together, if you go and watch it on YouTube, you'll see some of the behind the scenes stuff. But I was excited to get in the ring with Matt Serra. And so I remember Matt Serra pulling off one of the biggest upsets in UFC history. So when I went to him, I told him, I said, when we get in there and we lock up, if you can take me down. And he looked at me like, if I could. I'm like, I said, I bet I can get out. I bet I can get out. And he was laughing. He thought I was joking. I said, no, I'm serious. Don't let me out. Like, I wanted him. I didn't want him to hurt me, but I wanted him to do what he does. There's no faking that. And sure enough, when he took me down, I couldn't get out.
Dude, the look on your face when he put you to the ground so fast, I was like, oh man. It's like, Dustin, you're in for it now.
I thought I might have made it a mistake, challenging Mad Sarah, but that was a lot of fun. So, Dreadhead Kev, man, I really
get to do that. So that's the thing. Always, brother. Always, brother. It was fun doing this. Let's do it again, man.
Absolutely.
Name the time and place.
Look out! Here's what's coming up for Championship Wrestling.
All right, let's take a quick look at what's coming up for Championship Wrestling, starting with tonight. Monday Night Showdown, just like the good old days, but only in wrestling trivia. Come play with us at Sidecar Cafe, 7 p.m. bell time, and it's free to play. Register your team right now at ChampionshipWrestlingMemphis.com, and you'll get a free appetizer. That's Monday night. Who will dethrone Trivia Champions Team Canada? Who? We have an extremely busy week starting tonight with wrestling trivia. I can't wait. But then you can join us Friday at Commerce Street Market in Hernando. Friday night, head on over to Commerce Street Market in Hernando for their Dine and Deals event featuring Cousin's Maine Lobster and a few special guests, including Chris Gales. He'll be playing live Christmas music. The Grinch, he'll be there along with Buddy the Elf. And then Saturday, that's December 12th, this coming Saturday, it's live professional wrestling in Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee, get ready for a Christmas to remember with Soar Championship Wrestling. We are just 1 week away from all the hard-hitting action you've been waiting for. Next Saturday, December 12th at 3589 Summer Avenue in Memphis. Bell time is 7:30. I will be your host for an evening that features Dante Smiley versus Alan Steele, DJ Brown Jr. in action, Dean Fleming, the Self-Made Men, Laurentez X, and a women's division match between Kayla Cassidy and Diamond Queen Evelyn Carter. Be sure to arrive early for a special meet and greet with former WWE World Tag Team Champion Sir Mo. That starts at 5:30. A Christmas to Remember with Soar Championship Wrestling is sponsored by Brinson Tax Service. Check them out at 1864 Madison Avenue in Memphis and get your tickets at ChampionshipWrestlingMemphis.com. Like I said, we have a jam-packed week ahead, and let's not forget, December 20th, we return to Dave and Buster's for our next free watch party, and it's the final watch party of 2020.
Our next free watch party at Dave & Buster's is WWE Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. Oh my! Join us Sunday, December 20th. It's free. Plus, you'll get a free game card. Dave & Buster's, Wolf Chase.
And of course, Thursdays at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, you can catch me on Sports 56 mornings talking professional wrestling. You can listen live or on podcast from anywhere in the world at sports56whbq.com. And then Thursdays at noon, an all-new Grind City Wrestling. You can listen at grindcitymedia.com/podcasts. We had a couple of very, very influential people in the wrestling business pass away, and I talked all about it. Told some funny stories of my interactions with the late Bob Ryder and the first ever Intercontinental Champion, Hall of Famer Pat Patterson. Then, Saturday at noon, my Maria returns to the show after a few weeks off for maternity leave. She's back. Boy, did she miss a lot. I'll get her all caught up, though. But on Saturday's show, the Bodega will be in action. Richie Slade is in singles competition. He's headed to the 500th episode spectacular for a Heritage Championship match, just like the Bodega are headed there for a tag team title match. And remember, that's the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood's 500th episode spectacular. We're heading towards our 100th episode in February. I can't wait for that. Stay tuned for some details. It's gonna be good. Also, Dan the Man, Dan Joseph returns to action, and so much more.
Saturday at noon, join us for Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle.
It's another wild week of action where anything can happen.
That's Saturday at noon on CW30 Memphis.
Thanks for listening to the Championship Wrestling Podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me here today on the Championship Wrestling Podcast. Big thanks and shout out to my buddy Dreadhead Kev for all that he does, and of course for joining me here today to recap Saturday's Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle. And if you couldn't tell, he's kind of a Ray Rosas fan, but I won't hold that against him. And if you want to be on the Championship Wrestling Podcast with me, just hit me up. Tweet me right now at Dustin Starr. That's exactly what Prince Watercrest did, and of course, that's what Dreadhead Kev did as well. But you can stay up to date and informed on everything Championship Wrestling by following us at CW30 Wrestling, and be sure to subscribe to our official YouTube channel. Take that subscribe button to Slap City. It's at CW30 Wrestling, or you can just look up on YouTube Championship Wrestling. We have so many new videos each and every day, including classic episodes and never before seen footage. But I look forward to seeing everybody out at Sidecar Cafe tonight, 7 p.m. bell time for wrestling trivia. It's absolutely free. If you register right now at championshipwrestlingmemphis.com, you will receive a free appetizer so you can have a little snack while you play wrestling trivia. And of course, you can win some free tickets to Soar Championship Wrestling taking place on Saturday right here in Memphis. But until then, I am Dustin Starr saying so long, everybody. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.